time I try to debug my mind, my code's a riddle, you always rewind. You find the errors in every nested loop. Oh, clever llama, master of the code. You solve our mysteries just like I was told. VFDs and VLCs, you know them well. Edge and my secrets for you.
Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Start Index Incremental block. And we're going to actually show an example of how to use it with the Start Index Reference block. So today we're going to be looking at the Start Index Incremental. Now you can see the little graphic here looks kind of similar to the Start Index Reference from the previous video. And you can see that the input is also distance like the previous video. So the question is how does this act different than the way the block worked in the previous video? To understand how it acts different, we're going to just go through a couple scenarios, and if you still don't understand, you might have to watch the other video to see how they kind of act a little bit different. Okay, so again, we're going to start with a value of 10,000, just like we've been doing for all the other index blocks, and we're going to start this index. The question is what happens? Well, it goes to 10 inches, just like the Start Index Reference block did. That's interesting. Well, maybe it acts different if we just start it again. So let's just start it. We're here at 10 inches. What happens? You can see it just went to 20 inches. So far, it looks exactly like the Start Index Reference block. That's interesting. Well, let's go ahead and do the next test that we did. All right, so we're at position 0, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to index to 10, just like we did, but at 5 inches, we're going to start it a second time, okay? All right, so let's start it. So here's our starting it at 5 inches. Let's pause the video, and you tell me where you think this is going to go. Is it going to go to 10 inches? Is it going to go to 15 inches? Or is it going to go to 20 inches? All right, let's start the video. As you can see, it went to 15 inches. Well, why is that? Well, unlike the other block, this one takes the exact position that we're at when this is triggered and adds this distance to it. So we were at 5 inches. 5 plus 10 inches is 15 inches. That's interesting. Well, let's go ahead and do the next test that we did. So we have two blocks here. We have a Start Index Absolute block and a Start Incremental block. The question is what happens when we start the incremental block after an absolute block? Here at 5 inches, we're going to do it again. Because we started it at 5 inches, it also went to 15. So it doesn't really matter what the previous block was. It just uses the current position plus that distance, okay? So far, we've been doing the same tests as what we did in the last video. At this point, I want to kind of stop doing those same tests and just let you know that the two tests that we're not going to do act exactly the same as with the Start Index Reference block. And that is it important to do a positive edge contact? And the other test was, how do you go in the negative direction? If you want to know how to do those, go watch the Start Index Reference block. It's exactly the same rules. The reason I'm not showing you these two tests is because I've already answered them in the previous video. And also, I really kind of want to show you how to use this block in an application. So the application is a machine that fills cheese bags. And each bag has a white line between them. And we're going to have a little sensor that watches for this white line. And it's going to let us know where the edge of the bag is so that we can line up the bag with the cheese topper. So the question is, when would you use this block? Well, most of the time you wouldn't. Most of the time you would use this block, the Start Index Reference block. But there is a nice little niche using these two blocks together. For example, you can use these two blocks in conjunction with each other to do a registration index. Let's say you want to do an index that's always 10 inches long. Okay, there's your 10 inches. And you know that you want to stop 1 inch after the registration. Let's say you start this first index because that's the distance you want to go. And you started, the system would move 10 inches. Cool. And let's say the sensor didn't pick up the registration. You would tie the sensor to this input here, okay? It didn't pick it up. But you know the bag length is 10 inches, so this is just about perfect on the registration, but maybe it's a little off, right? All right, so we could see that the last index worked, but it was just a fluke, right? Well, let's watch this a couple more times and see how it's actually supposed to work with this incremental index acting as a registration index. Each time it indexes, you can see that the sensor is seeing the white line. This guarantees the bag stops in the right location. Some of you guys might not actually understand what I'm saying here, so let's exaggerate the problem. Let's say the machine is starting where the bag is misaligned like this. And let's say we do an index without the incremental. As you can see, it stopped in the wrong place because it indexed 10 inches. The bag is 10 inches wide. Therefore, it stopped in the wrong location. So let's put our registration sensor back in and do it again. So let's start the first index again. And as you see, the registration sensor already caught it and stopped it. So the index didn't actually travel 10 inches. And now you can see the bag is aligned to the hopper. Now this is probably not the best way to do this application, but if the application is simple enough, this way will work just fine for you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section below, or subscribe, or whatever. See you next time.